So, what I'd like to share with you is a process that I have that's a 4 step process to freedom through music. Now, this came about whenever a few years ago I really started doing um, I found some spiritual work called Waking Down, and I have a teacher in that work. Her name is Linda Bonder, and she has a wonderful process called the 6 step recognition yoga. And this is created to help someone when they're on the path of healing and holding. A lot of stuff comes up, and that we have to move through our body. We have to transform and transcend in order to bring it back to us and really help us to be whole and to be able to move on into the next steps of creation and freedom. So her 6 steps are: when you have something that needs to be moved, that needs to be whole in you, you see it, and then you feel it, and you live it, you become it, you be it, and then you transcend it, and then you share it along the way. This 6 step process was so helpful for me and continues to be helpful to me to this day because it really helps me to embody. It's a process of embodiment, of healing through embodying what you're going through. Um, so when I would do this process and we would get to the feel it, live it, be it part, I found that the way that I could do that the most and that would give me the most transformation and the most freedom was when I did it through music. So I developed, in my own path of self-discovery, I developed a 4 step process. Now, personally, a couple years ago, I was feeling bound in a lot of ways, and I decided to take a risk and take a detour. Uh, I decided to fight, and because I am a human being, uh, I went to war in some, metaphorical sense. Um, and because of that, there's been a lot of loss. There's been times of complete and utter destruction of my life and how I thought it was supposed to be, my ideas, and even my physical life. There has been change. There has been, transition. I've had to move. I've had to restart. I am rebuilding currently. And I really took a risk and was brave and had to find the deepest levels of courage within myself to do this. And I did it because of this freedom inside of me, inside of my heart, my soul's calling. It needed to somehow be unlocked, unleashed, so that it could be out in the world. And so when I did this, I knew that I was going to have support. I was going to not only have to survive this time of my own personal war, my own personal tearing down everything so that I can rebuild anew. I not only had to survive it, but I wanted to thrive. I wanted to live it. This is my chance to really find freedom and make it happen on the ground. Um, so I turn to music. I turn to what I know, to what I do. And I want to share a little bit about that process. So the first step in the 4 step process to freedom through music is to be open to a song. There's so many songs out there in the world that people have written, and if you just have the intention that you want to work through something so that it doesn't, when you're going through loss, when you're going through change, there's a lot of emotion, there's a lot of physical stuff that comes up, and if we don't process it, then it's going to get stuck in our body and it's going to manifest as anxiety, depression, pain, illness. Uh, it, it will hold us down and just become another one of those chains that bind us. So if you can feel that coming on, if you can feel the something is churning in you that needs to be processed, then just step one, be open to receiving a song. It's pretty impressive because synchronicities happen. So I remember a couple of years ago in particular, I just made this life change, and I was starting to get back on my feet, and I got this wonderful opportunity to practice music therapy. Um, One of my good friends and colleagues, she has a speech therapy practice, and she opened a door for me to step through, gave me an opportunity to practice what I love to do. And I was driving to work, and I have kind of a long drive to get there, and it gives me time to reflect and gives me time to process and feel what I'm going through. And I was just really being open to, I know there's a song, I know I need to work through some of my stuff so that I can rebuild. And I was listening to the radio, and on came this song, Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You, by Led Zeppelin. And it was such a rockin' song, and I totally jammed out in the car, air drums and singing at the top of my lungs, and being able to do that kind of helps my spirit to come alive and helps my body to feel good. And so when the song was over, the DJ said, this song was originally written and recorded by Joan Baez. Well, I didn't know that, and when I heard that, I knew automatically this was it. This was the song that I needed to four-step, the Joan Baez version. So I went home and I listened to it, and then I started step number 2, which is to know it. You found the song. Now, know it. Back and forth, in and out. So I would listen to that song over and over again. I'd be doing dishes and I'd listen to that song. I'd be, folding laundry and I'd listen to that song. And I would let myself find and know every chord change, every piece of the dynamic. It's such a haunting song, but it also really embodies this grace for when you do take a risk and you step out because you have to. So I would listen to that until I knew it in a way that was deepest to me. And I would cry and I would emote and I would, go through all the stuff I needed to go through until I was ready to move on to the third step, which is embody it. Now in the embodiment step, that's when you actually play music. So I learned how to play on the guitar. I got my fingers on the strings. I learned a new strumming pattern, a new picking pattern. I got my voice involved. I was able to open up my body and make space and breathe and to be able to sing the words out. And what that does is anything that's going to get trapped in your body on that somatic level. See, that's what, when we aren't able to process what's going on in our lives, transition, change, loss, when we're not able to process that consciously in that moment, it becomes trapped in our body. And that's how trauma can be, recreated over and over again. So by doing step number 3, we're getting out all the things that might be stored in our body around this change, or for me, this grief or this fear, unpredictable, part of life. So we use the actual physical process of making music to release anything that could be stored in our body. And again, I would sing it and I would cry until I'd sing it and I didn't cry anymore. And then that led me to the 4th step. The 4th step, which is express it and get a witness. So it's so important as we're moving all this stuff in us, as we're moving what we're going through, that we have an outlet to actually get it out of our body, to actually put it out into the world. And if we can do that in a manner where somebody is a willing, conscious witness for us, then it's just unbelievable how it can transcend and how we can bring it and make us more whole and actually heal what we're going through. We need others in the community and in this world to share in our story, to share in the reason why we choose to go to war, why we choose to fight for freedom in our own lives. We need to share this with others. It creates such a healing balm and helps everything to just kind of solidify in this whole process of healing. the open mic nights have been really, really helpful for me in the last year to be able to complete that fourth step. And I was able to, one night, sing this Joan Baez version of Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You. And it was really a big risk for me. It was vulnerable. It was a risk musically. It was a risk emotionally. And it was received, and there was a couple people there who really received it compassionately and supported me and told me that. And I was able to move past it in that moment, you know. I was able to heal something so that I could continue to take steps to rebuild and not only survive but thrive in this life. Not let something like separation, not let it manifest into some kind of bondage. So that's just my own personal story of how I can use music and how I have used music, and have used it countless ways. 4 steps, several songs in the past year and a half, 2 years. And I really want to bring this. I really want to bring this to you guys, to the community, because I do value music. I do value this process of consciously processing what we're going through as human beings and using music to do it. There's something about the quality that music gives to our lives that keeps the human spirit alive, that keeps our vision and our longing for freedom, that keeps it actually possible. Sometimes the world gets us down. Sometimes the world is so heavy. And we experience so much that weighs us down. But what if we can take something like music and one by one unlock those chains that bind us? So, thank you so much for listening and for watching today as I continue to share my vision and my process. And I hope that it touched something in you that is longing to be free, is longing to be born in this world. And maybe give you a different perspective, a different strategy. And be open today to maybe there's a song out there that's just for you that can unlock, that is the perfect key to unlock whatever it is that's holding you back from taking that next step towards your freedom. Because that's something that I truly believe we are all born to do. Find freedom in this world. Thanks.